In today's video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Ride Concepts Traverse and Skyline. Ride Concepts sent me a couple shoes to try this season, and so I have the Traverse, which is a clipless pedal shoe, and I've also got a flat pedal shoe. I'm trying to focus on learning clipless pedal shoes this year, but there are some things that I still will toss these on for. I've got a few rides on each of these, and enough to kind of get a feel for how they feel on, short pedally days, long pedally days, hot days. And so I've got kind of a good feel about that. I'd love to give you guys my thoughts, so stick around. The one thing I won't be able to really speak to too much since, I've only been running these for about a month and a half is durability. So time will tell with that, but I'm excited to share what I've learned about these shoes so far. So Ride Concept shoes have this rubber kinetic sole is what they call their sole material. It's a nice grippy rubber. This one is their mid grip, so you've got some grip when you are walking around on the rocks, walking a few sections, or hiking around to see a view or something like that. You do have some grip, but they're not like a particularly sticky shoe. Obviously you're going to be clipped in when you're riding in these, so it's not super important. These have laces, and then they also have this little elastic piece here that you can stuff the excess of your laces into. And then it has a Velcro strap to go over the top. Now this is meant to give you a little more support so that if you're pulling up in the stroke, since you're clipped in, that I think the idea is to make the shoe a little more stable. It's gonna have a little bit less flex in it. I don't know if it makes that much of a difference or not. So far, one thing that I will say is I think it's a little bit of an awkward pairing to have the Velcro strap with laces. Sometimes you see the clipless pedal shoes that have like a little wheel that clicks and tightens the shoe on top. I think that might be a little bit better pairing if you are going to do the Velcro strap. So, I mean, that's a little bit weird. I'm getting used to it though, but just something to consider. I feel like the shoe has pretty good breathability. I tried the Ride Concepts Hellion last year, and I like the breathability on this one a lot more. That one has more of just kind of like the little dots all over the shoe, but this one actually has some breathable sections of material that are bonded in there, and that does give you more breathability, which is really nice because it's hot here in Arizona. This is like a mid-rise kind of shoe. It's not a super high top, it's not a low top, it's somewhere in between. One thing that I like about Ride Concept shoes is when they make a women's shoe, it is actually a women's specific design. They don't just offer it in smaller sizes and change the colors. Because what happens with shoes that are like that is you end up having to like just tighten the laces a ton, and so this is always like super bunched in. But these are actually a women's specific cut, so it looks pretty well balanced when your foot's in there and it's all laced up, and it gives you a much more comfortable fit across the top of the foot. It's really nice on this, especially as a clipless pedal shoe, that it's a very, very stiff sole. So the pedals that I run, they don't have like a very big platform, but if you've got a really good supportive shoe like this, it doesn't really matter. You don't even need that. And these have done really well, giving me a lot of stability on the pedal. But they're still plenty comfortable. This is a really cool color combination, I have to say. Like, they really knocked it out of the park with this. It's nice to have some cool, fun color schemes that aren't like patronizingly feminine, but they're just fun, and so I really thought this was a cool color scheme that they came up with. If we look at the cleat placement next to the other shoe, I don't know if you can see, but on the flat pedal shoe you can, at least I can see it with my naked eye, that I do sit with my pedals a little bit further back on the foot when I'm on the flat pedal shoe compared to where the cleat is placed. So I think if I had the ability to slide the cleat back a little bit further, I probably would. That being said, it does still slide lower than some of the clipless pedal shoes that I've seen. But that is one thing that I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of improvement on, is being able to slide that cleat back just a little bit further. Alright, so that is the Ride Concepts Traverse. Let's take a look at the Skyline next. This is a flat pedal shoe, the Skyline. The rubber kinetics sole they have on here is their maximum grip. It's still not quite as grippy as Stealth Rubber that you would find on some of the 510 shoes, but it's still the grippiest that I've found in another brand. It does really well. It hasn't been super problematic for me, but I do feel like I can move my feet around on the pedals a little bit more easily on this shoe than, you know, something like a 510. And that might be a good thing for some people. Some people like something that's got grip. They feel like they're secure when they ride, but they can still move their foot around. So that might be a selling point for some of you. And that's just good to know that it is still a little bit of a step down from the Stealth Rubber, but it's provided plenty of grip for me. I've had these out riding a few times, and I feel like they've done well. Again, they do have some kind of fused in breathable patches of material on the outstep and on the front of the toe. On the inside, they have more of just kind of the little air holes. Both shoes have a really nice reinforced toe box, and you can see that these have taken some toe strikes already. Usually once or twice a month I'll take a toe strike. So I feel like those have offered a lot of protection, and it's really nice knowing I'm not going to destroy my feet that way. These are a little bit more of a flexible sole compared to the Traverse, as these are not a clipless pedal shoe. It's not an annoying amount of flexibility. You still feel like you have good support. Having a little more flexibility is also more comfortable when you are off the bike walking around a little bit. So that's been really cool. These just have a simple lace up, and then they do again have that little elastic band where you can put any excess after tying the laces. You can secure it with that. Now, I felt like both of these shoes, for being kind of weather-resistant shoes, had a decent amount of breathability. Definitely more breathability than the Hellions that I rode last year, so that has been nice. One thing that's also kind of interesting is these shoes both have a similar rise. If you look at the back of the shoe, it's not quite a high top, not quite a low top, it's somewhere in between. If you look on the Traverse, this has kind of like more of a softer material in through the back of the heel. If you look at the Skyline, it's got kind of more of this smooth, kind of rubbery material that's a little bit stiffer all the way up. And I will say one thing that I noticed was that having a little more stiffness here on long pedally rides, it does kind of put a little more pressure on the back of your foot. And even though the Traverse is a similar rise to that, I feel like having this softer material does actually sit a little more comfortably across the back of the foot. Now, I know we can't compare these completely because one of them is a flat pedal shoe, one of them is a clipless pedal shoe, but I do think it's an interesting thing to note in the design that having that softer, more kind of meshy material across the back of the heel does create a little more comfort. So that's kind of cool to see. Since I was still pretty new to riding clipless pedals before having to take that 2-month break until I had my own shoes, I went ahead and filmed that ride, so make sure that you stay tuned so you can see that, me riding clipped in after like a 2-month break as a beginning clipless rider anyway. I just figured I might as well film that, so that'll be coming up soon, so stick around to see that. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you check out my video on the Ride Concepts Hellion. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Get dusty.